Help Action Needed, a D&D podcast.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Help Action Needed, a D&D podcast. My name is Sean Hardy, and I am our Dungeon Master for this story, and before we go any further, I'd like to take a moment to introduce each of our players.
Hello, I am Kate Pizarczyk-Johnson, and I play Nori.
I'm Dan Johnson, and I play Cass.
I'm Julie Perez, and I play Frog.
Nice. And so, the last episode saw the beginning of the third arc of our story as our little band of heroes who are still trying to find a name. Last Nori came up with it was something about lizards, but nothing ever got locked in. They left the town of Solana on an aid mission to help the Prince Dion of the whole country kind of figure out what's going on with Lady Cassiopeia, because they brought back some info saying she might not be that great. And also, Jarls Bellman said that she planned to kill the High Cleric with the new High Cleric, so that's not good for anyone. On the way down, you all stopped back at Seth and Alto's house, talking to the brothers and taking a moment for Frog to learn to use a scimitar before adventuring on with them. Going into the forest, you had a pretty easy trek until Frog intervened in nature and accidentally summoned the Frog King, who told you of the difficulty with the shadow cats, which ended up being displacer beasts that were attacking them at night. But through some good teamwork on the three of your end and good teamwork on the brothers' end, you were able to take down each of the displacer beasts and finish the frog ritual, ascending a new frog to Frog King. And we're wrapping up now, kind of after your short rest. You are at camp with the brothers, with Quizzle looking around, still guiding in the trees, and with a 5-pound frog about the size of a melon, just kind of sitting there talking at Frog. So, Frog, I'll let you start. What are you doing with Frog King?
Frog is definitely still, in awe of what just happened and is, looking at the frog and, kind of, shaping it up to see, how big it actually is. And then we'll probably ask the Frog King if he has a name that he would like to go by now that he is no longer actually the Frog King.
Well, if I were to be able to be called a name, I would always enjoy the name Archimedes. I heard it once by an adventurer, and I thought it was very nice. So if I can, could I please be Archimedes?
Sure, Archimedes. That's a lovely name.
Oh, thank you. I thought of it myself. Not really, because I just told you I didn't, but you don't. I did.
I say, Frog is just gonna be, slightly giggling to herself and, turn to the others and be like, are you hearing this?
You are. This frog has
Nori-
not stopped talking since last night.
Nori is going to be sipping a very tiny cup of coffee that she ended up taking grounds from the last place that we were in, and just sipping it and just bouncing up and down. I'm like, oh my gosh, Archimedes! That is so exciting! That's a great name! And then she'll just be walking and jumping around the camp where all of us are at. Very excited to have a new little friend on our journey.
After about the first hour of Archimedes, as he wants to be known, talking, Cass would have just used Bottle of Respite and just retreated into his little area to get away from all of this chaos that is happening. So as this conversation strikes up, Cass comes back out and just looks at Nori drinking her coffee, and it's Quizzle, and just sort of goes to the outskirts, not ready to deal with everything that is ensuing.
I think if you were going into your Bottle of Respite as soon as you did, Seth would have kind of tapped his brother on the shoulder, and Alto would have been like, do you know, is it possible for us to join him in there, or is this a him-only sort of thing? Which I don't know if either of you would know the answer to. And so, not getting an answer, they're like, we'll take watch tonight. And you see them jump up into one of the high up trees away from camp to just be watching from both sides of the camp at the same time, allowing themselves a bit of respite from Archimedes as well. Nice. So yeah, And then, Cass, as you come out of your bottle, what do you do?
As I come out, just sort of take note that Archimedes is still indeed talking, as I figured he would be. And then sort of trying to finish what we were going to do yesterday. Quizzle will still be out, obviously, and send him up to whatever seems like the highest tree. I know there's not really anything too distinctly bigger in the area, but like send him up to the tree line in general. And once he's up there, I will rest against one of the trees and switch to eyesight. Or actually, before this happens, I'll sort of talk with the group and sort of see like, hey, like, do we know, is there anything in this forest? Like, was this, like, has anything happened here of like reason to sort of like dig through this area more? Or do we just keep going? Sort of looking to Frog and Lori.
If anyone wants to make a history check to answer Cass's question about if anything happened in this part of the land, you're welcome to. And I think the brothers would come back by this point, so they'll join that as well.
Okay, yeah, Frog will do a history check.
Okay.
I will as well. 21.
21, okay.
Oh, I also rolled a 21. Wow.
Nice. Both of you have beaten Alto, who only got an 18. Seth got a 3. So yeah, I think you would both know that this was where a lot of the like warring was done right before the war ended. The old Lord Commander, who you all know of from the Prince's engagement party, this would have been a spot where like one of the last couple of stands were done. And then not this trail specifically, but the immediate area was part of where the kind of like last act from one of the old chieftains named Dimitri Blaine took place. And I think Frog, as a wizard and someone studied in magic, you would especially know this. He was a great necromancer and did a lot of war crimes, which is why the School of Necromancy is banned throughout the country. So you would think if you were to be looking for anything, it would probably be tampered with that way, or it would be something that's still like preserved in undeath. But you also know a lot of the people that were resurrected or undead have all been moved to a Morendo where they have their own representation. So it's not like you'd find zombies or skeletons or anything, but more like any sort of weapons would be de-aged, any sort of armor would have like life and prosperity sucked out of it. So the chance of finding something really good is low, but if you did find something, it'd be something that would have survived that level of necrotic magic.
Frog will be sure to share this with the class.
Nori will just be hopping in excitement in the background, knowing that she knew something that Frog knew as well, to share in that knowledge, but we'll let Frog have the glory of sharing with the class.
Well, I think you would know it from a very different side. Like, Frog knows it from the academic side and what textbooks have said and why it happened. You know it from a lot of people died. Like, there's a reason that this one act of war banned the entire school of necromancy. Is a lot of the soldiers you would have known, Fae or not, are down. A lot of the people your family would have known went down. And even if they weren't involved, it's something the entire like military on both sides would have talked about. So it would definitely be something Nori heard of in her childhood of like this event and why it's so bad. Probably also informed your parents' opinion on humans because Dimitri Blaine was a human.
Yeah, that's true. Fair point. Okay, gonna change, gonna scratch the original reaction, have a new reaction. Because, yep, no, that's fair. Brain working. It's lovely. Nori will share then, conversely, the opposite side of it. Maybe also noting the importance of respecting the space, and of the thought of leave no trace, so to speak, with the group. Would the information that we gathered help inform if we should look out for anything specific, so to speak, whether that be like friend or foe, or even things that like Quizzle we could kind of give advice to? so to speak?
Yeah, I think it would definitely know, like, in order for it to have survived, it would probably still be magical in origin. So if you were to be casting Detect Magic, you could probably give advantage to anyone searching for it because you would be looking for those magical sigils. You would also know that this is a very bogland heavy, so things have the chance of sinking, but they can't sink that far down because bogs aren't deep. So it's not going to be that hard to go and look for it. It's just going to be how much time are you spending wading through really thick plant and earth to get into there. So I think it would definitely be you guys could take a little bit of time to set up like, okay, let's like pick an area that's probably the best. And it wouldn't be too far into the path. Like none of this happened that close to Elara. It would have happened more north, probably like northwest. So you'd go off the path a little bit into the woods, and then you all could start like detecting magic and like doing group investigations to see what you find.
How long would you say that would add to our journey to Elara? Elara.
I think it would take an hour if it went well. Could take up to 3 hours if it wasn't going well and you kept trying to find something.
And from where we're at now, if we went directly on the path, it would take 3 hours to get to Elara?
Yeah, you're about 3 hours from there on foot right now. And it's like 7 in the morning, so if you left now and got there, you'd get there around 10 a.m.
Well, Nori would be a proponent of trying to go search for things, and I can detect magic at least 4 times, so we'll have that for at least 40 minutes. And kind of see how it goes, and we can use it sparingly depending on what Fizzle finds, or we can use it a ton if Fizzle doesn't find anything. If we feel like we have a strong feeling about it, something being in a certain place. But Nori would definitely be good to go on a different path.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that.
Cass at this point is just sort of like looking at these two spouting history facts, just sort of waiting for a consensus, and hearing Ori give her side and suggest detect magic. Cass will turn and be like, while I think this is worthwhile, it only is to a certain extent. I wouldn't burn through all of your spells doing what could amount to nothing. I would say we limit it to potentially 2 detect magics to see if we can find anything. If we don't find anything, I'm fine with leaving unless anybody specifically wants to stay here for a long period.
Would F and Alto, would they know anything specifically about the area that we'd be going to that it would say, I have this memory of X, Y, and Z that would be worth asking them on the way there? Or
Yeah.
They have
So
given us any...
They're not going to be able to give you like help in that way, but they are very good at nature and tracking the land. So when it comes to actually searching, they're going to do a very good job of it. You would assume they would do a very good job of it. They're not magic item hunters. They're not often digging through the land to see what's down there. So they don't have any like expertise or anything in finding it. But once you pick a spot, they're going to be a really good team to start, like actually getting in. They have the like strength to get into the bogs and pull stuff out pretty quick, where the rest of you would probably take a long bit of time to get through all that kind of stuff. So they can help a lot that way, but not so much in the prep stage.
Okay. That sounds good. Then I would say with that information, we just set off on our merry adventure.
Okay.
Cass is just sitting there being like, oh, like 2 uses, 4 uses. We never really answered here. What are we doing?
Why don't we just see how it goes?
Okay, so with that, Cass will wait for Nori to use detect magic, and then once we get a sense of maybe a direction, I'll switch to Quizzle.
All right, yeah. So, Nora, you're casting detect magic then?
I will once we get to an area that feels dense enough. That would have been good for battle. Whatever, using the knowledge that I have. But yes.
Yeah, and this is kind of where the brothers will help too, is they know like, oh, these trees have never regrown because of this type of like scar in the land because of this. So they lead you to a spot about half an hour off the path. That would be a good spot to start looking.
Okay,
perfect. That sounds great.
Frog will ask Archimedes if he would like to hop in her bag, because I don't know if he's as speedy as we are. I don't think he is.
And he's like, oh yes, if we're going on an adventure, I would very much love to be joining you. If I'm in your bag, I probably can't see much, but maybe I can ride along with you, or maybe I can fly now, and I can fly quickly alongside you. He tries to fly, it does not work.
Yeah.
This is random a question. Are there any spells that one of us could eventually learn that we could then turn him into something that could make him fly? Like for a short
Yeah.
period, not permanently.
I mean, there's the fly spell. There's polymorph. That could give
Polymorph.
him-
That was it.
Yeah, there are
Only-
options. Also, actually, I think Archimedes has a faster walking speed than human frog.
Yeah, I checked, and after I was saying that, and I was like, oh, he is a 30 feet.
Yeah, no, Archimedes can move faster than human frog can move.
Yeah, okay, so I guess he should give me a ride.
Yeah, you would not fit. You
I
would
know,
crush
I could try though.
it. Do you want to try?
No,
No, don't cry, Archimedes.
I don't.
Cool. Then yeah, we get to a nice spot. Nori, are you casting the detect magic?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Everyone make me a nature check. Seth finds nothing.
23.
15.
15?
16.
16, and then a 21 for Alto. So who had the highest? Frog, you had the highest, right?
Mhm.
Cool. Can you roll me a d4?
2.
2, okay. You take the group over to an area that is like very much in the like ground, and you see that this area just doesn't have the same level of decay as the other area around it, and you find a skeleton that is laying there dead, but in perfectly preserved adamantine armor. It is full plate armor, so very few of you could wear it. In this case, only Nori, or you could gift it to Alto. But you do find some armor. Nori, what was your roll?
15.
And Cass, yours?
16.
16, okay. You find, not there, but more Quizzle finds, a rope that is still hanging from a tree. And you find Quizzle finds a rope of entanglement that you can either give to yourself or someone else. And then on Alto's 21, he finds a ring. He is not magically attuned or smart. He does not know what it does. He's assuming it's magical because it survived. He has a ring that one of you could look at later. Frog, I also don't know if you'd be strong enough to take that armor and lift it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
Strength is not Frog's strong suit.
If you want to call someone over, you're welcome to.
Yeah. I would probably call over, I guess, Cass.
Nori is very small, but mighty.
That's true. Okay. Call over Nori.
Cass doesn't even move. Like, being called over, like, seeing the situation, like, Cass just sort of, like, tells Nori just to go in his place, knowing that it's gonna be better this way.
Mm-hmm.
So Nori will try and pick up the armor, looking at it and be like, is it shiny? If it's preserved? Or
It's
no,
a
it's just
very dull, almost obsidian black color.
perfect. Okay. I will ask Frog if maybe she could just give me a little bit of a boost, and then I'll try and lift it off the person. Would that apply to put in the bag of holding?
You could put it in the bag of holding, yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'll put it in the bag of holding and then go over to Cass,
Mhm.
noticing that he found some type of rope, asking if he wants me to put it in the bag of holding as well.
Seeing that, would Cass be familiar with this enough to know that what it is just from sight?
Make an Arcana check.
12.
Yeah, it's not that hard to identify because the rope glows a faint blue color. You would know it's a magical rope. I don't know if you know it exactly, but you would know it's a magical rope.
Yeah, and with that, Cass just sort of already has like a rope tied around his waist, just as like a sash, and will just sort of intertwine the two, putting it next to his lantern, and sort of pleased with himself, seeing that the blue hue sort of matches lantern flames as well. Just says he's good.
Yeah, nice. Very fun. I think you would all know that's the most you're going to find. You did pretty good. You're not going to find a lot more. Don't need to take the time to search. And you could go back on your way if there's nothing else you want to do in this part of the forest.
Nori would be down to just continue on our path to Elara.
Let's
Okay.
go.
And then as we make our way, Castle just sort of look to Beth and Alto and just sort of ask if they were able to find anything with their searches as well.
Yeah, you would see Alta look over. Yeah, I found a ring. I don't know what it does, but um, it's kind of hot to the touch, and when I put it on my hand, I feel a little cooler. I'm not sure what it is, but it's fun. It's a ring.
Well, I mean, you found it, so if you would like to keep it, that is more than fair. But if you want us to figure out what it does specifically, just let us know. I can hold on to it, figure that out for you, or we can sort of figure that out at a later time. Just you let us know what works best.
Okay, sounds good. And
Nori, on the way out of the forest, will take out her silver pine cone and say a little extra prayer to Titania, so that way she's making sure, hopefully, the carcass that they took this armor from is then resting in full peace, or just thanking the area around us for giving us some cool treasures that we found.
yeah, make a nature check or a nature or religion, either one.
And I now guide myself since detect magic isn't applicable anymore. Okay.
Yep.
Religion. Right. 17.
Yeah, you don't get a response back, but you like feel your prayer being heard, and for like the first time in a while, some flowers start to grow along the like path you all treaded through the field.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. And in that case, we can fast forward time 3.5 hours into the future. We're around 11 a.m., so approaching a lunchtime if anyone were to be eating a regular meal schedule in this world. It's a fantasy land. Who does that? As you all get to the exterior of the holy city of Elara. As you approach, you first noticed would probably be the ocean, because you are now very much situated on the coast of the eastern flank of the country. So you know and hear the ocean very much like when you were by Bosun's Bounty, just peacefully happening in the background. You would also have talked just through your long rest with the brothers again about how they don't have the best history here. So they put on their cloaks just to kind of like disguise themselves a little. They're not expecting any sort of drama, but they did tell you a couple weeks ago when you met them that like in the long past, this town sent like witch hunters after them thinking they were evil. So they don't have a great relationship with the history of this town. It's been a while. Things could have changed, but out of their own safety, they're putting on some cloaks and are going to kind of take a back seat and hope that they don't bring much attention to themselves. But then as you're actually approaching the town, the first thing you would notice is just like a collection of cottages and buildings and just a bunch of houses looking at the outside of the town. It's not a ring, it's not circular, it's just a connection of houses at the exterior that I think you would all kind of pick up on is like either people who maintain the town, people who live here through the clergy, or people that live here as students. Because what you know about the town is that it's where all of the members of the Church of Everlasting Peace come to be trained in their clerical orders. So this is like very much a town where you can assume everyone is going to be aligned with the church, if not participating in the church, as well as you see people moving around, you can tell them by rank just by what they're wearing. It's a very hierarchical town. When you enter in past those houses, you see like large, very pristine sandstone and marble buildings coming out of the ground up to the sky. Each one of them, as you get closer to the ocean front, seeming larger than the other, all of them gleaming in the sun. You're not sure if it's actually an effect or not, but it seems like the sun always hits every part of every building, giving it a very like healthy glow, and it makes everything look extra fancy and extra nice as you are approaching. You'd also smell a lot of very nice bakeries and pastries. This town is well stocked because it is not the head of the country, but the training facility for people that consider themselves to be head of the country. And so it has a lot of imports that benefit the town and make sure anyone learning part of the order is doing a very good job and getting the best possible training they can possibly have. What would you all be thinking or reacting as you're walking into Elara for the first time?
As Frog is smelling the pastries and whatnot, she is thinking of Archimedes, and in her head is like, I bet Archimedes has never ever had a sweet treat. Assuming that he eats like flies and stuff like that, so she will ask Archimedes if he's ever had what he eats, or I guess, and if he's ever had like a sweet treat.
Okay. And as you're talking to him, where is he? Is he walking beside you? Is he on his shoulder? Where is Archimedes?
I guess on my shoulder. When I meant if he wanted to go in the bag, I meant like as in like with his head sticking out the top. So either in the bag with his head over my shoulder or on my shoulder is fine.
I think it'd be on your shoulder, because even in the bag, he feels like he's not enough of an adventurer. He's not on an adventure, he's being carried.
Yeah,
it's
that's
different
fair,
to be
that's fair.
sitting.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I would very much enjoy it. Do you think they have wild berry flavors? I've eaten wild berries before, and I very much enjoyed those. I don't know what kind of berries they were, but I know they were wild, and I would assume there are other kinds. But if you could get me a berry pastry, I would be most happy.
Okay. Frog is gonna like make that her mission in life right now. So she's not even like taking in anything else, just focusing on like sniffing the air and being like, where is this bakery?
Yeah, and I think you're doing a great job of using that as a distraction for the other half of your thoughts going on right now, which are you are in the town of one of your most favorite people. So how is that manifesting in Frog's behavior?
You can definitely tell that she's like more anxious than she normally is, and is like, using this as an excuse to not have to think about or do anything regarding what this hot mess of lady is.
For anyone that's not aware of what this hot mess of lady is, it would be Cassiopeia, who is the appointed noble that is aligned with the church that heads both Mary's Rise and Elara. She is the governess of the area. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
And also the worst. So yeah, Frog is not happy about it, but is focusing all of her energy on Archimedes.
Yeah. Yeah, so the other two, you'd see Frog a little too hyper, a little too invested in pastries. What are you all doing as you're looking up and thinking about the town?
Nori would be particularly paying attention to the people walking about and noticing their rank. For Nori's knowledge, what does that look like with their different ranks and clothing styles to denote them?
Yeah, so very much like how way back in Bosun's Bounty, the crew all had their own different colors. Here it's a very united front. Everyone is wearing these like very similar like long white robes. They seem to be kind of like half dress, half tunic, floor length gown things that are very flowy. But the difference is on the arms there are different stripes, and the more like each stripe grows, so like everyone seems to have like a black stripe around it. And then people that are higher than them have a black and white stripe around it, and then the people higher than them have a black, white, and blue, followed by red. And then there's a spot for a fifth one, but you don't see anyone currently like having that fifth one filled in. But you see those black, white, blue, and red stripes going down the patterned sleeves of people kind of noting their rank.
And rank would be like novice up to priest or priestess, so to speak. What would those, at least the 4 ranks that we can see, what would those be?
Being outside of your church, I don't think you would know.
Okay. Would I have ever interacted with someone from the church, have any type of knowledge about the kind of training that they do go through?
Yeah, you tell me. Do you think you have?
I
It
feel
would
like
be
I
the
would have.
domain, which would have only really been founded after the war.
I feel like I would have knowledge on the training, but maybe not necessarily interacted with anyone.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Would I then also know if people here are generally open to talking about the training and the church and information that's known to the public about the church?
Yeah, I think especially from when you saw the cleric teacher for the Solana Academy, who was very ready to help you convert to the Church of the Eternal Peace, you would assume people here are just as eager and happy to help you learn about them and maybe talk to you about ways you could join, especially being someone who has already shown that they can be dedicated to a god, when you all would just know from the world the gods aren't here anymore. Like, that was part of the war and the church founding on peace, is that they kind of gave up divinity and believed in themselves. So the fact that you continue to devote yourself to someone that's not the concept of humanity and peace, you might have a couple people that simply don't like you for that alone, but you probably think you could use that to leverage a few conversations.
Okay. Cool. So I think Nori would just be muting her personality a little bit and be a little bit more subdued and just taking in the surroundings. Don't know what I would roll and do anything, so I think that's just gonna be what Nori's doing.
Nice.
And sort of bringing up the rear of the group, Cass is going to sort of just keep tabs on group, knowing like it's a new area, everyone's going to be sort of going slightly different directions. Just keep tab on where Frog is, what everyone's doing, and as I'm doing that, knowing the past with Seth and Alto, does anyone seem to be paying them any particular mind as we enter?
Because of how their cloaks are on, no. They look like basic people coming and going, very similar to like some of the merchants who are stocking. There would be merchants like leaving with the like just brought in the second part of the day deliveries. So they are blending in well with the coming and going of the town. Nobody's looking at them for any reason right now.
Okay. Still sort of concerned about that. Cass will whistle and have Quizzle sort of run up his leg up onto his shoulder, and I'll point just sort of up to like the rooftops and just have him run along the rooftops, like not really like doing much, just being up there if needed. And I'll make my way over to the brothers and just sort of tell them like, if something were to happen in a negative light, don't pay any mind to what I say about you. True, I just want to make sure we don't cause any problems here. So again, whatever I say, just know, like, we are good. Respect you both. Don't take any of it personally. I don't want you to feel like I am attacking you in any way.
Oh, well, if we didn't take Nori's comment to heart, I think we could take quite a few of yours before anything stuck, but it makes sense, and thank you for letting us know, but we think we can handle whatever's said.
Okay. And sort of seeing Cass just nods and sort of continues along the way, seeing that Frog is slowly pulling the group towards the bakery and, oddly enough, being okay with it, sort of wanting to see what's inside as well.
Cool. Then yeah, I think the scene will follow you all into this bakery. Uh, you all had just come from Solana, where you had seen a lot of very fancy, almost intimidating bakeries, just from like the sheer variety of option, the amount of things on sale, like the amount of like, oh, I've never even heard of this flavor or taste before. This is not that decadent, but it is that stocked. Like it's very clear that they have what you would need from like a basic level. So they have a lot of pastries, they have a couple of like sandwiches, a couple of pies and things. They're not going to have everything imaginable like you would have had in Solana, but they have a good amount here. And I think as you enter, you look up and someone goes, "Blessings of peace upon you. I hope you are having a good day. Is there anything I can get you in this bakery?"
Frog, seeing or hearing, I guess, um, the person that
Yeah, if you,
was it?
like if your head turns towards them, you see like just a woman that has like that third one, so she's down to the blue stripe,
Okay.
behind the counter, just in her robes. She seems to be just like tending to like packaging up, like taking out the packages that were just delivered and like restocking stuff.
Okay. So seeing this woman and kind of taking note, like, oh, she seems like she's probably higher up in this, and like kind of realizing where they are after now, like considering more rather than just being like, I'm gonna ignore my entire life. She's gonna quietly suggest to Frog King Archimedes that he should be quiet while we are with these other people, but will take into consideration his request about berries, and will start looking around the bakery for a berry tart or pastry of some sort and ask for that.
Okay. Are you responding to the lady as she greets you? Okay.
Yes.
Well, so kind of like asking her for where that could be.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, yes, we have several a pastry that would be quite good in the berry flavor. Would you like our strawberry rhubarb one? Would you like our raspberry one, or would you like our mixed berries of the day one?
Mm. I'll take the mixed berries.
Sounds good. And she hands you like probably two too large to actually be like consumed pastry. Like it's very clear that this is meant to be shared. Like people come in and get things together, they pass it around. It doesn't seem like anything in here. And as you all kind of see the pastry Frog is handed, you see along the walls, it seems to be very communal. Like you wouldn't come in here and get something for yourself. You'd come in here and get one or two things to split with like housemates or with friends. As Frog is handed a pastry about the size of her face, considering she's a halfling, that's just simply too large.
Tori's going to then walk up behind Frog and ask a very kind, lovely lady if they have any coffee.
Oh, no, we believe that coffee would poison the mind of study and put a hindrance in. It's welcome in other parts of the town, but no, we are not a coffee having city.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I did
Oh,
not realize.
you're clearly not from here. There would be no way for you to know.
You have anything to drink that you would suggest?
We have herbal teas, we have lemonades, we have water fresh from the ocean, purified of salt.
You potentially have any lavender lemonade?
Sure, why not?
So Nori will ask for a lavender lemonade, and then she will note the blue stripe on the woman's clothing and ask, if you don't mind me asking, what does the blue stripe on your dressing mean? I've noticed that there's a couple different colors, and I'm just really interested to learn more about them.
Oh, yes, I would be happy to let you know. So this symbol uh, designates that I am of a working member of the clergy. I am here to make sure things continue running. I have my roles within the service and am expected to attend the worships and engage in them as needed, but my primary role is functions of the city and keeping the civil half of it running as needed. You need a rundown of the stripes? Are you new here? I mean, you're clearly new here, but are you new to the concept?
I am. If you wouldn't mind running through them all, that would be lovely.
Yes, so the black stripes indicate new students, typically in their first year, who have not yet really either found their calling or are still on like a probation period to see if their belief in peace is going to support the Church of Eternal Peace. The white stripes indicate students who have been fully accepted and are continuing their studies and their studious work. These blue stripes, as you see, are the workers. The red stripes, if you find anyone with that, would indicate that they are a professor of some sort. And then, if you find either of the heads of the university, they would both be having a silver stripe on their arm.
Oh, and the professors. That is so informative. Thank you. You mentioned that as a working member, you're still expected, just like everyone, of course, to attend services. How often do services occur, and how often are you expected to attend? If that makes any sense?
Just as I can. They occur throughout the city at all times. There's always a service going on somewhere, but it's not mandatory or expected to go to many of them, just when you can. And if you can't make it, just reflecting on your own what peace means and what it can do. Like for me, peace is creating this shop that allows for friends to come together and share a meal and engage in conversation. It is my own act of devotion to continue this shop and allow it to run.
That's perfect. If I wanted to learn more information about potentially becoming a member, where would be the best place for me to inquire or learn more about the process of becoming a member of the Eternal Peace?
Well, um, respectfully, looking at your garb, you are a bit far strayed from the concept, and probably would not qualify for a new initiate due to devotion to things beyond, in a way beyond some sort of arrangement, but in belief.
Hearing this part, Cass sort of steps up and uh, chimes in, being like, "Apologies. Like she said, she's new here, and she really is speaking for me. I'm actually curious of how to become a little bit closer with religion of the area in general. So please
Yeah, yeah. Make a
excuse her. I
deception check.
apologize."
Yeah, just make a deception check. We'll see. I roll her
While he's,
insight.
make- while he's making a deception check,
Uh-huh.
are there tips in this culture? Could I like tip her?
There is no tipping. Cassie got to beat a 19.
24.
Yeah. She goes, "Oh, oh, well, yes, if it's simply that you were too shy, if you were to go to the headmaster and mistress's offices, you could fill out an application for new study and have an intake interview with them on your reasonings behind wanting to join and see if there is a spot for you in the student class."
Lovely. Thank you so much for the help. As I said, I grew up in the country, so I'm very soft spoken, and I don't like to usually be the center of attention, but I appreciate your understanding with the situation and
Yes.
sort of seeing that Frog got something and Nori got something. Um, with that being said, do you have anything of more like decadent flavor, potentially like something with chocolate or anything along those lines?
Yes, we can. It's not quite time for the dinner portion, but I do have them in the back if you would like. I have some chocolate cakes, or I have scones, or I have some leftover, potentially going hard pain au chocolat from this morning, if that's something you would be interested in.
Pain au chocolat would be fantastic.
Yeah, and she'll go and like grab one from the back.
And as she does that, I'm just going to look at Nori and just sort of eye her to the door. Obviously, that conversation didn't go great.
Well, I first, looking at Cass, I'm gonna say lemonade, and then
And I like Cass just sort of turns as she's walking back, like, "I'll grab the lemonade."
And then Nori will very kindly walk away, not with any attitude, even if she wants to give Cass a little bit of attitude.
Yeah. And as the attendant returns in the back with like a nicely wrapped up package for your little breakfast spread, as it was going to be going to one of the charities or student organizations if nobody had come in for it. She's like, if you need directions to the headmaster and mistress's offices, the building closest to the ocean, the tall one that overlooks it from the top, that is where you can find the administrative offices and where you can find applications for joining the clerical study.
Thank you so much. And what would it be for all of the things? The Berry Danish, the pain au chocolat, and the lemonade.
Oh, it is from the gifts that people do to maintain the church. We are not paid for our students, and we do not expect people to pay for their meals. As I said, anything not taken is given to the charities and the student groups. So we don't pay on the front end. Instead, people pay through their worship and devotion, and if there is a need, through charity boxes throughout the city.
Oh, okay. Castle just sort of put his coin purse back down. Before we leave, what do the donation boxes look like? Just so we're aware. I'd like to make sure that we give a moderate sum.
Oh, if you see a box protruding from a wall, um, most of the walls are nice, flat, and sheer clean, but some of them will have small boxes of various colors throughout. They very much represent. So if you wanted to like donate toward the bakery or any other clothing stores or things like that, you could donate to a blue box. If you wanted to donate to the schools, either white or black, or if you wanted to donate to further studying the professorship, the red or something of the like. You can find various colored boxes according to where you'd like the money to go all over town.
Fantastic. And of course, thank you again. And with that, I'll grab the lemonade, the desserts, and I'll give a quick little like head bow and make my way out of the building.
Yeah.
And as soon as I get out, just gonna let out a deep sigh, being like, I don't like talking to people. I'm not saying that, just internal monologue here.
Yeah.
And as I get out, I will go to the brothers, and seeing as how they seem to enjoy the decadent desserts that were brought to them previously, I will hand them the pain au chocolat and hand Nori lemonade while looking for one of the blue boxes.
Yeah, the blue boxes aren't far. There's like a corner intersection that has a couple of them because it seems to be like this part of town has a lot of these businesses. Uh, Alto hands like takes it and like kind of rips it into thirds. Part of you like to give you a third, and then like half, but like a small half for himself, and then a huge half for Seth, who was the one that much more enjoyed the more sweet things the last time you got him.
And roughly, if we were to pay for this, how much would this stuff cost on average?
You'd assume it'd come out to about 5 silver for all of it together based on its size. It wouldn't typically be like that expensive, but because it's like 3 times the size of a typical thing you'd be getting, it probably comes up to about 5 silver.
Okay. Knowing that, I'll just go up to the blue box and drop 10 silver just into it. Just as I said, just paying it forward to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And with that, I'll just sort of start walking away from the building, sort of ushering everybody with me, and just sort of make our way down the road with no objective in sight, but just to brief a little bit about that conversation.
Yeah. There are lots of public parks throughout the city. They don't have any like trees for shade or anything, but that same effect of how the sun seems to always catch the good angle of every building, it seems to always not catch the parks in a way that would make it too hot. So you could like go and rest in a park, or you could. It's not a far walk through the city. It'd probably take you 15 minutes. You could just go to the beach and sit along the beach shore, the ocean shore, and have a talk there as well.
Frog would suggest that we go to the beach, so that Archimedes can go in the water a bit, and then we can, be more secluded and theoretically.
Ori will respond and say, I think that's a good idea, just based on the conversation she just had.
Yeah.
Make your way through the town, like down the street, passing what you would assume to be that administrative building. Not close by, but like with enough of a breadth that you can see it and note it, and then get to the oceanfront shore, where you can all sit down. There are like laid out picnic like blankets and umbrellas, so that people could just relax around here. So if you wanted to, you could take an official spot, or you could make your own way and find something a little further out of the not sanctioned, but manicured part of the beach.
You can go a little further away.
That sounds good.
Yeah, we'll go a little further away, but not so far that it's also like eye-catching. Just far enough away to have privacy.
Yeah.
When the group is starting to sit down, can Nori try and perceive if anyone's trying to pay attention to us or paying attention?
Make a perception check.
Ooh, nat 20. So hold on. All my numbers. That is a 28.
Nice. Yeah, on a 28, anyone that would be out here is too engaged in their own lunch break, their own study session, their own just like whatever, especially because this is that time of day. And you guys like moved away a bit and don't look like you're from here. So you're getting a couple of glances of like, oh, I wonder what their deal is, but no one seems to be actively paying attention to you. It's more that like, are they going to be guests? Are they here on business? Are they just here for fun? Did they come to the wrong town? Like, you're getting glances, but nothing that would indicate suspicion.
Okay, so if nothing of malice, Nori would just note that to the group. In that, I'm not really noticing anyone following us or paying too much attention to us. So I would say we can kind of talk amongst ourselves in peace and not have to worry about our rhetoric too much.
Yeah,
Frog-
so if you're...
Sorry. Frog will get out the berry pastry and break it in half, or maybe more than half, because it's so big, and give a little piece to Archimedes to see what he thinks.
What he likes? Oh, this is quite good. You see him having a really hard time because he's like just like tongue flinging at it, and can grab like a bit of berry and like pull it back in, and like a bit of crumb and pull it back in, and he's enjoying it a little too much. He's like, oh, this is so nice. I have a new story to tell people about, and you have a feeling Archimedes will be talking about pastries for a bit. Can you make me a make me a perception check real quick?
19.
Yeah, as you're breaking it and giving a bit to Archimedes, you just kind of like catch out of the corner of your eye, Seth kind of like elbow Alto a little in like a, hey, you think you can ask for me if I can have a bit kind of way. Alto's not going to ask because they were already generously given a large amount of pastry, but Seth is wanting to ask. I don't know how that would sit with you as someone that like, oh, like he's clearly not being able to use his voice, like he never can, but like in this moment he's just being denied it. But you see that he wants a little bit more of, he wants some of your pastry too, and his brother's not going to ask kind of stuff.
Frog, seeing that, will immediately break off a piece of it and hand it over to him, and then also break up Archimedes a little bit into little pieces so that he can have the full experience, instead of just getting little pieces at a time. And then as Frog hands Seth the pastry, she's also going to try to communicate with him via her brain, since she has her Ghostwise connection, and see if he can hear her.
Yeah. Roll me an Arcana. It's not. Roll me a flat intelligence check and add your intelligence modifier and your proficiency. So, roll like intelligence plus proficiency.
Okay, that's good. I'm good at that.
Because because this isn't so much using a magic, it's using an innate part of you, which may or may not be your mom haunting your body. You're not entirely sure yet, but you're
Correct.
using like something innate and not magic to do this.
Okay, so that would be 25.
25, yeah. So, what would it feel like as he like, because he's like partially corporeal, what would it feel like as like your ghost voice goes into his mind?
I would probably be a little bit creeped out by it because she hasn't really tried to use these powers since she didn't really know they existed and only discovered this in the last few days with Mrs. Katonic. So she's probably gonna be like a little bit weirded out by it, maybe a little shiver, and is going to ask Seth if he enjoys the pastry and if he can hear her.
You see him kind of look around, like a little confused, because like he's always heard you all talking out loud. Like he's not unable to hear your conversations; he's unable to respond back. And you see him kind of like look a little confused because he's hearing very clearly Frog, but you're not talking at him, and the others aren't hearing. And you see like a little pensive look go across his face, and you hear like quietly in your head at first, almost with that like tinge of he's not expecting it to work, so he's not putting in the effort to try. Because if he tries too hard, he's going to just let himself down.
Yeah.
You hear, "Oh, are you? Can you hear me?"
Yeah, Frog is gonna smile and then be like, "Yeah, I can hear you."
Hi. Hello. Hi. Hi. You can hear me. Whoa! Someone else can hear me. That's been a while. And like you're getting like an internal monologue in your mind of this confusion and excitement and like just celebration, but also like, what does this mean? Can my brother still hear me? Like, we'll send a couple words. Like, can these two hear me? Looking at Cass and Nori, and just kind of like, you guys don't hear anything as he looks in your direction, but as he looks back at you, Frog, kind of calms down a little and goes, hey, it's nice to officially meet you. I am Seth. And then takes a bite of a pastry.
Aw, lovely. Frog is gonna be like so excited by this just because she knows that this is something that he probably was like looking forward to experiencing again. And so she'll be like, "I'm so excited," or "I'm so happy to meet you," and then ask if he would like her to stay for a little while or if she should retreat from his brain, I guess.
Oh, yeah, you can stay as long as you want. Do you have a limit? Can I only talk to you for so long, or is this a one-way connection? Can I choose to talk to you in your head, or can you only talk to me?
That's a good question.
And I think at this moment, Frog wouldn't know because you're not really sure how this works.
That's correct.
But what do you think Frog would be responding, not knowing?
She'll say, I know I only learned about this recently, so I really have no idea how this works. I think maybe my mom's ghost is inside me, so that's my best guess so far. I mean, if she's staying there, maybe I could still talk to you. I don't really know. And just like rambling on.
Yeah, very much rambling the way he was a minute ago.
Yeah.
And as you like think, I think my mom's ghost is inside of me. Kate and Dan, can I have Cass and Nori, and I'm also gonna have Alto roll perception checks, because Frog has gotten uncharacteristically quiet, and Alto's not hearing his brother constantly in his head.
Nori rolled 30.
Damn.
Just rolled a 9.
Okay, Cass, you are probably talking with Alto just about something. He got an 18. He's going to definitely notice the change, but I don't think he's clocking it. Nori, you look over at, like, the way you talk at people. You see Frog and Seth talking to each other without saying anything. Their faces aren't moving, except for, like, to make expressions of joy, confusion, sadness, a little bit of sorrow, a lot of excitement. Nothing's coming out of either of their mouths, but you see the two of them fully socializing.
Nori will keep this little pocket of information for later, and at our next long rest, ask Frog about it.
Okay. Cool. Is there anything other than vibes you're all hoping to have this conversation about while on the beach?
Yes. I'll cast after finishing a conversation with Alto, who I was talking to. Yeah.
Yep.
After finishing that conversation, Cass will take his quarterstaff and just sort of go towards the water itself, stab the quarterstaff into the sand so it's sturdy, and take off his robe and sit down to where he is out of the water but his feet are in, and just put his lantern in front of him. Just with proximity from his conversation with his patron, he knows, just from being in this area his whole life, he knows that one of the areas that he was sort of informed about is just off the coastline. And knowing that, he sort of just tries to sit there, relax, and watch his lantern and see if the flames are starting to shift one way or another, just based on proximity of where he is.
Yep. You don't see the flame change, because as they kind of let you know, the flame is based on you right now. So that flame is still very much the lighter shade of blue. There's still some of the dark blue in there, but it's very much mostly light blue. But what you do see as you point this lantern into the water is that lanterns are always meant to be beacons, showing you where to go. And as you submerge it in water, kind of like bioluminescent algae, a path of very light blue light comes from the base of it, pointing through the water at an island far off in the distance.
I sort of just sits there and watches the bioluminescence just sort of continue to spread out further. Just makes note of it. Doesn't bring attention to anybody else, but just sort of sits there and contemplates what to do given the situation with his patron.
And I also have you make a wisdom check for me.
Straight wisdom?
Not a saving throw, just straight wisdom.
It's dumb.
3.
Okay. You look at it and you feel a thought enter your mind, but then something Nori says draws your attention, and like the thought passes before it ever really takes hold. Nori, what would you be talking about behind Cass on the beach with the others?
Nori probably would be describing how she's really annoyed with the fact that she wouldn't qualify for becoming a student. She thinks that it's very judgmental for people that aren't supposed to be judgmental at all. But kind of notice Cass is veering off into the distance a little bit, and to try and bring him back into the conversation, thank him for probably saving her butt a little bit in terms of an awkward human interaction that could have continued to transpire, and ask, with the information that we have, do we want to try and have Cass or Frog or someone become a new student, gather information that way? What is kind of our game plan now that we're here? Because we didn't really discuss that aspect.
All right, hearing the conversation, Cass just sort of turns around to see, like, looking sort of to Frog to lead this. Like, this is sort of her thing, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, Frog is gonna suggest that maybe we try to have Cass go talk to the higher powers, I suppose, and see if we can get any more information and potentially have that lead us to Cassiopeia. I don't know. And then after she has this serious moment, she's gonna be like, or we could send Archimedes. Try to lighten the mood a little bit.
Cass just stone faced, is still looking at her for a serious second option.
Nori, hearing Frog, will say, "No, Cass, I know it's not your favorite thing to talk to people, but it's kind of like one of our only good options. Respectfully, I don't want to send F and Alto in there. I sure as heck can't go in there. And Frog, I think, deserves to have a stake in this, but not to be such an emotional stake right away with things that we can learn. Let her just kind of take that emotion and run with it later. Maybe let you handle this one, buddy." And Nori will pat Cass on his lower back, because I think that's what she's going to be able to reach.
Are you going over to Cass sitting near the shore then to pat him?
Yes, and to try and bring him back into the circle or conversation.
Before you do, can you make me a nature check at advantage?
Me, Megan. Okay. And also cast guidance on myself. Okay, little 16 was a 20.
S is going to try to lie his way out of this and just be like, yeah, you see that, like, just sort of point out, be like, you see that, like, algae too? Like, the stuff lighting up? And as I'm pointing there, like, I'll use my other hand and, like, take the lantern out of the water and just put it back by my side.
Cool. Deception versus insight. Actually, Kate, this isn't an insight, this is a perception. You have to roll perception, not insight.
And I can continue to cast guidance on myself, correct?
Yeah, you can. So can Cass.
27.
Hold on. I rolled a natural 20 plus 3 plus 8, so 31.
Yeah, you, as he says, like, oh, you see that algae too? You look out and follow the trail. And with that great perception, you can see it pointing way off into the Crescent Isles. And, like, you feel like the water moving with it. And when you look back down, like, the trail's fading, but you're not quite sure why.
Nori will say, okay, sure, Cass, and we'll still try and take some of the ocean water, in like a little vial that I was able to
Yeah, you have
through.
vials. You can collect water.
I'll take 3 vials, just in case, and put that in the bag.
And sort of seeing this, Castle sort of smirk, knowing Nori knows something's going on, but just sort of get his, like, boots back on, his robe back on, and sort of get ready to go, and sort of suggest to the group, we should probably find somewhere to stay. I'm not saying we need to go there right now, but we need to figure out what our rooming accommodations will be. And also, will look to Zeph and Alto and ask them, are you still comfortable being? We've appreciated your sort of, like, help just getting here and, like, the extra party members, but also we don't want you to be in danger by being here. So just knowing your past, like, if you feel the need to leave, like, you have done more than we could have asked for to start.
I think immediately upon hearing that, Frog, you hear in your head, do you want me to go? And I'd like to stay. And he's again trying to see if he can initiate that speak to you.
Frog's immediately gonna respond like, no, you can stay, please, please stay.
Cool. Then they're gonna look, and Elta will be like, my brother seems real drawn to staying with you all for the time being. So while I would have said it might be best to take watch outside of town, he seems to really want you all to be around. So yeah, we can stay. That's no problem.
That is absolutely fine. I'm just going to sort of glance to Ori and glance at Frog, who now has not said anything, and seems like in like 10 minutes at this point.
Nope. Yeah.
And just make sure everyone's still good with it.
Nori would say, yeah, that would be great just to have some extra help for however long you guys want to stick around. We just really appreciate it in general.
Okay. And then, or hearing the consensus, Cass will just look to the group and be like, all right, if I need to lead this expedition, let's say, and I need both of you looking at Frog and then giving a little bit more stern glance at Nori, you two to just keep an eye on them and make sure that not too much attention's being drawn. Like I said, I don't want this to be an issue for everyone's safety at this point.
As you're looking at them, Archimedes hops up and goes, "Oh, don't drink the water. It makes my insides feel spicy."
Would we know that it's making his insides feel spicy because it's salt water?
Yeah.
Okay. Nori will look at Archimedes and say, my dearest friend, it has a lot of salt in it. If you want some extra purified water, I have some in this canteen. You're always more than welcome. You just gotta let me know.
You can carry water?
Yeah, it's one of these really silly human inventions, but sometimes we can reap the benefits, so just let me know.
I am the most blessed frog.
At this point, Cass is just leaving. He's off the beach, like going back to town at this point.
Yeah. Honestly, I think for the first time, I think Nori, you especially because of the perception check you rolled last, you see the brothers separate for a little bit as Elto walks with Cass and Seth stays behind to be close to Frog.
So,
I think none of you are moving far enough that it's a problem. None of you are dividing the group. But Nori, you see, like, for the first time since you've seen them, and you've been now with them for 2 days in a row, and they're always, like, right next to each other. For the first time, they are not step in step. One is moving away from the other, intentionally.
We wouldn't necessarily know if they have to be close in proximity near one another.
Nope, you have no reason to believe they have to stay next to each other. They always have. But it's also, they're always paired. Like, you don't know if there's any reason. But it's just, and it's not even large. It's maybe 10 feet or so as Cass is running off and Alto is going with, and then Frog is standing back to listen to Archimedes, and Seth is standing back by Frog. You're the only one that notices it, but you do clock it.
as we're walking, oh, sorry, go ahead. Oh, okay. As we're walking, Frog will ask Seth if he would like to be disguised, or if he thinks that having him and his brother disguised may be helpful to them.
Oh, well, honestly, I don't know if that would work on me. I've never tried to change my form in my life, let alone since I fell. I don't know what my state really allows for versus doesn't allow for, and um, I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Well, we still have the wraps.
Mhm.
And one of us does, is it me? Someone has a disguise thingy, right? Oh, invisibility. So if push comes to shove and we need them to be hidden for safety or anything, we can potentially use the wraps and invisibility. Just food for thought. And Frog will let Seth know that, assuming he will convey that to Alto as well. Alto. How do you say it?
Both are fine. It's alto as written, but alto and alto both work. Yeah. I believe I'd much more likely work by going invisible, but I can let him know. And he like pings over, and you can tell that the message has been sent.
assuming we have a little bit of a ways of a walk till we get to wherever we're making camp, Frog will try to distract herself from the impending doom and ask Seth if he would like to play 20 questions.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I can ask you questions, and you can ask me questions, and we can ask each other questions, and we can do that. I am a little concerned that you are much smarter than I, so I might not be any fun to play against. I also am not very well aware of what all has been going on recently, so if it's anything too new, I probably couldn't pick up on it well. But if it's something old, or if it's something about fighting, I think I got you beat watching you fight my brother. You're not good, um, but it was fun. But yeah, I would be down.
Good. Frog, after hearing the "you're not good" comment, is gonna like push him a little bit.
Mhm.
Not like anything aggressive, just like a
Yeah,
shove while they're walking.
yeah. I want to see you try. Roll me
Okay.
an unarmed strike.
Yeah, I can do that. I don't know how that's gonna go, but we'll see. Okay. Um 19.
Yep, still not a 22. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, he is. It's not that you don't get in contact with him and you give him like that friendly little shove, but it's also that he is. How tall is Frog?
3 feet, like 6 inches, probably 3.5 feet,
So he
maybe.
is almost double your height because he is just over 6 foot. And also,
Good.
like, he is an expertly trained fighter. And so, as you even move in, he sees it coming and just like kind of puts a hand on your head and holds you at arm's length, and then kind of like lets you go so you can hit him, but very much showing, yeah, like I said, you're not good. But you can tell he means it in a very kind way.
Good.
Cass, as you are leading the charge to get to the administrative office, what are you doing? Are you kind of like prepping yourself mentally? Are you talking with Alto? What is the plan?
Oh, I thought we were going to find somewhere potentially to stay first, because I
Hmm.
was thinking that Seth and Alto would not come with us to this main building, is the main plan here.
Then yeah, cool. Then you can easily make your way. The town has many like directories around it, very similar to like how colleges have like you are here and like the building layouts. You see on there somewhere called public housing, which is different than all the residentials, and you'd assume it's where anyone visiting the town would be able to go.
Yeah, sort of seeing that, I would lead us that way and
Mhm.
just. I'd be looking for. I know everything with the way the light is sort of being bent, it seems like everything looks very pristine. I would be looking for the least maintained, least pristine looking place for us to stay.
I'll just let you know you won't find one. Like the whole town is pristinely maintained through some sort of magic here.
Okay. Knowing that, then I would be looking for pretty much any building that looks like a housing that would have another blue box, just like the common folk like type of run facility.
Yeah. And that's like what you're looking for somewhere to stay, or are you looking there just to make another donation?
No, just somewhere to stay, because I'm assuming that the donation box would be outside of the inn if you want to
Yep.
leave something.
Yeah, so you make it over to the public housing area, and it's a white donation box to be given anyone that's staying here through their stay. They support these students. Like, essentially, instead of paying an overnight fee, you're paying to either house, feed, just provide schooling for the students. But yeah, you're able to find one that has a donation box on them. There are no inns in town. All of the public housing are townhomes, essentially. Like they're just rows of townhomes set up together, and there's a little, not like gate, but a small, like essentially a ticket office where there's a man sitting inside, and you can go and you can talk to him about checking out a townhome for as long as you would need.
Yeah, so I'll go up, and prior to doing so, sort of talk with the group and try to organize us where Frog is most definitely front, knowing that she probably blends in the next best, and then have Nori like sort of behind, trying to cover Seth and Alto, which I know is an unfeasible task for the two of them because they are short. But try to make them more front and center, like try to draw eyes away from them a little bit, and then just make my way up to figure out what the arrangement.
Yeah. You go up and oh, hello. Hi. Well met. Are you here to inquire about public housing?
Yes, we're looking for a short stay. I'm looking to, and I'll point to the tall tower, the area to sort of apply. Be like, I'm looking to apply within the day or tomorrow potentially, and just looking for somewhere to be able to rest our heads for my group. They won't be here long. We're just in a group. They helped me get here, and more of a paid escort.
Oh, well, yes, that will not be an issue. Are you planning to stay like 1 to 3 days, 3 to 5, or 5 beyond?
What would the rates be for 3 to 5 versus 5 beyond?
Oh, well, there is, of course, no rate. Whatever you would
Right.
like to donate is the correct amount. It's more so that we know how long to make sure that the wards of protection around the houses and that any resource that needs to be delivered to it can be. There is, of course, no cost associated with staying in these homes.
Of course. I apologize. I was informed about this. I'm new here, so I appreciate your understanding. Um, let's say no more than 5 days max. And if we were to leave earlier, I'll make sure to stop by and let you know.
Okay, yes, that is good. And I see that there are 1, 2, 3, 5 of you. Are you hoping for a house that can have 5 separate rooms? Would some of you like to share? Do you all want shared rooms with beds? Like, what is the arrangement you would need for your group?
Um, if we were to get a house with 2 bedrooms, is there like a living area in the lower floor potentially with like a cot or just a couch even?
Oh, yes, a cot could be delivered, or anything else you would need could be delivered if you are
Just,
doing so. We
just
we
a,
have 3 bedroom rooms if you would rather everyone have a proper place of sleeping. It's
yes, a
no
3 bedroom
inconvenience
room.
to us.
A 3 bedroom room would be fantastic.
Very nice, yes. And then like kind of like looks at a register. Well, if you go over to house 17, you can have a 3 bedroom home there. I will just need your names so that we can put them into the log, so that the wards would know who to let come and go. And if there's anyone you wish to add to the guest list for approved visitors, please send them our way as well to be added to the log with your permission. Can I just go ahead and get those names from the 5 of you?
Sure. And Cass will be forthright with his name, just full name and um how far away is everybody? Like is it better to call everyone up or just give the names?
Um, I guess it's up to the rest of you. If you guys are trying with your 3.5 feet and 2 feet of body to hide the 6'3" and 6'1" brothers behind you, what's the plan?
I'm just gonna give all the names. I
Cool.
look back, sort of have that concern, and then look at them and just write and just go off the names and with Steph and Alto just give them the first name and see if he asks.
No, there's no pause for it. You've given them like a way to identify that the person can present themselves as through their own voice. You also wouldn't know. Like Cass would have no way of knowing their family name.
Oh no, that's what I meant. I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know it, and I don't
Yeah.
want him. I've seen if he's gonna ask if they have a family.
Yep. No, there's no expectation of one given. It's just identification. Then yeah, they say, "Oh, well, very nice. I will. By the time you walk over there, I will have updated the system. All you have to do as you get there is just state your name, and for the first time, make sure you say your own name, as it will recognize your voice and allow you in safely and unharmed."
Fantastic, thank you. And I'm just gonna sort of like look down the way and be like, can you just point again where we're supposed to go, just verifying that we're going into the right house.
Yep. We'll point, and you see like a row of like perfectly maintained, like if this was modern day, like suburban houses in like a town right outside of a major city where even the bushes are trimmed to the exact same shape. You see something like that, and they're all numbered both on the front of the house and the like street sign right at the base, and they point to house 17, which is where you will be staying.
She is message or sending whatever
Can
to
you
Cat.
just restart because we missed the first half?
Nori is going to cast sending to Cass and ask if Alto has to speak, how will he speak to get into the house? Safely.
Just point of order, Seth is the brother that cannot speak, but that is a question Cass could ask the attendant.
Cass just continue from the back. Nori can see Cass's shoulders and like just back tense up, and like, okay, that's fine. And in his head, he'll be like, duly noted. We will figure it out. And then look to the person manning the area, and as he's sort of writing down and pointing, just to chime in, just for clarification. One, how do we get into the house? You said we need to speak. Each person needs to speak their name.
Oh, yes, the standard practice is as you arrive to the front door, you can just say your own name, enter in, the house will register you as yourself, and that way no one can try and disguise himself as you or claim your name and enter under false pretense, as the house will have you paired with yourself, and the wards are good enough that even a disguised self would not correctly break the foundation of the house's safety.
Understood. One slight complication, and I'm sorry to be a bother, but our friend Seth. They're brothers. Seth had an accident a few years back. He actually is mute, cannot speak at this point in time. Is there any accommodation we can make for him? And again, I apologize for the inconvenience.
Oh, it is no inconvenience at all. Yes, I can make a note here, and instead, the first time, just have him enter the house first, and can place his hand on the door to open it, and will recognize a touch-trace sigil instead of a voice-activated one. There is no issue with that. The spell works just as fine.
Understood. Thank you so much. And I believe that's all we'll need. Is there anything else you need from us?
No. If you have any set desired deliveries, or if you have anything you want for the home, feel free to come back to whoever is manning this desk at the time of day. It will, when we can have it sent over to you as needed. But yeah, nothing we need from our residents. I hope you enjoy your stay in our city, and I hope that if you find it your calling when you talk with the headmaster and the headmistress, that you are accepted into the ranks of beginner students.
I look forward to it. This place has been very hospitable and accommodating so far, so I look forward to continuing my journey here. With that, I just sort of give a little bow and then start heading towards house 17.
Yep. And without issue, you are all able to make it into house 17. As you arrive, it is a very well maintained, like, all of the furniture is, you would assume, based on appearance, measured to how far it needs to be. The chairs at the table, the perfect distance from each other to maintain a very assembled look. In the dining room, the living room has a setup of several chairs, books, mostly books on clerical nature and the history of peace, but books that could be read. Upstairs, there are 3 bedrooms, one large bedroom and 2 also large bedrooms, but the large one has like a large bed where the other 2 have not joined, like split beds joining in a room. So yeah, you are all free to assemble yourselves throughout the house, and as far as you are aware, there's no way anyone else can break in, so you feel pretty confident you could kind of have any sort of conversations needed once you are all settled.
As soon as we get in, Cass will go up to the bookshelf itself and look. Is there anything in the bookshelf it sort of gives a general history of this area and or that gives background into the overall like beliefs of this area?
This area meaning the city or meaning the
City.
church?
The church here specifically.
Yeah, nothing about the history so much, but there are a lot of like books that I think Cass would read from a like this is clearly a very biased stance just with your background. I don't think it's meant to be written in a way that would come across as biased, but just who Cass is would inherently see a bias in it. But yeah, there are several books on the development of belief and ideation and ideal of the Church of the Eternal Peace.
Okay, and sort of seeing that, like Cass will run his like finger just like along the bindings themselves, sort of like reading and start pulling out a few of those and stack them in his one arm. And we'll look back to the group and be like, if this is the plan, if this is what we're doing, I need some time to truly reacquaint myself with my religious side. It's been a second. So I'm going to go up to up to one of the rooms really quick and start reading. If you guys can sort of sit down and really figure out what we want to do here, I trust your guidance. Like starts looking at the group and then looks at Frog specifically and be like, "You let us know what you need. But if this is the plan, I gotta sort of make sure I'm familiar with this. So this interview," and Cass makes big air quotes, goes well."
Yeah.
Ori then will say, "Aye aye, el capitan," and cast sending one more time to Cass and
Quick
say,
question. Do you mean to keep wasting your third level spell slots on sending, or do you just mean message?
"I mean message."
Okay. Because message is not a 25-word limit and it's a cantrip, so you could just keep casting it. Sending is a 25-word limit and a third level spell. Sending at the booth made sense because like the people that are in like the difference is message, you have to say it out loud in a whisper, and the other person has to whisper out loud back. Sending is all in the mind. So like sometimes it makes sense when you're using sending, but this moment would not unless you were really hiding it. So I wanted to clarify.
And I will message. And I will whisper, attempting to say it as quietly as possible. "You're welcome for giving you the note about Seth before us entering into the house."
And would Cass know the difference between, like, inherently know the difference between message and sending being used?
Yeah, they would feel different.
Okay.
Nori, can I get a stealth check? Not at disadvantage from your armor, just flat stealth. Frog, if you feel like you're paying attention to Nori, can I get a perception check?
Yeah.
17.
17?
12.
Cool. Alto asks, what about my brother?
Well, I wasn't trying to make it obvious, but because we were going to have to say our names in order to safely enter into the home, I wanted to make sure that Cass asked about Seth because, Seth decides. This is Ori does not say that.
Yep.
Ori would say instead, since Seth is able to communicate via his mind with you, I wanted to make sure he was able to enter into the home safely, so I messaged Cass about it before he left the desk.
Well, I apologize for hopping on you so quickly. That's honestly very kind of you. And he like goes to like give you not like a hug, but like a pat of like solidarity, and realizes like his hand is like the size of half your back, and so instead just kind of like grabs the shoulder in a supportive way. Cass, you can still respond back. You still have the message on your end.
Yeah, instead of like whispering it, Cass can be like, "Yeah, thanks, Nori. Thank you so much for that," as he's shutting the door to his room.
Nori is going to whisper underneath her breath lots of just profane words.
Yeah, I think you would notice simply from that, the brothers are extremely perceptive. It's like anything under your breath, don't feel confident you're the only one knowing it.
No, I wasn't. Well, this instance, I wouldn't worry about it. And then for our clarification, we didn't get the ring from
Elto
whoever
is still
found it.
holding it.
He is still holding it. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. That Cass didn't have it before he went off on his study adventure.
Nope, Elto is holding it. Cass
Okay, so
has
then
a rope, and you have some armor, is all you know.
okay, I will ask Alto if I can try and identify. Wait, I don't think I have identified.
You do.
I do?
One of you do. You or Frog, but I think it's you. Because you identified all the magic items last time.
I will ask Alto if I can take the ring just for a little bit so I can try and identify it for him/us, and I will be more than happy to give it right back to him.
Oh, yeah, that's no issue. Uh, yeah, and you see, like, he had strung it around, like, a necklace, because seems very delicate, and he didn't want to break it trying to get it on, like, one of his huge fingers. And, he hands it over to you to identify. Frog, what are you doing as Nori takes a couple minutes to cast Identify here?
Frog is going to be looking around the bedrooms to try to find the best one because she thinks she deserves the best one. And then is also consulting Archimedes as we go around, so she'll be carrying him and being like, "What do you think of this room? How about this one? Which bed do you like? Do you like a firm bed or a soft bed?"
So do you think you would have cut up before Cass did the study? Like you went up when the books were being distributed and everything? Okay. I think with how Frog is as a person, you would probably assume the best room is the single bed with the largest bed all by itself. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Then, yeah, you would go in there, and Archimedes would be like, "Oh, there's so much room on the floor for a frog, and frogs to hop around, and oh, what a great time." Cass, as you are getting to the top of the stairs, with all of the books you had to take a moment to grab, and then Nori pausing to stop you, you see the large room with Frog and Archimedes already trying to settle in as fast as they can. Truly the worst housemate.
Seeing this, Cass won't say anything. He doesn't care. They'll just sort of continue. Actually, going to look in the other rooms and then stop and think and be like, "All right, there's 4 people. Well, 4 people here. Um, look at Nori, and then like advance into Frog's room. Be like, hey, can you like have a roommate? Because we have 3 rooms." And then clarify, not me. No, not me. It'll be Nori.
Frog will say, "Yeah, I suppose I could." But she has to sleep all the way on that side.
I'll let you have that conversation, and before she can respond, I'll go down the hallway to whatever the smallest room is to leave the bigger room for the brothers.
After Cass's interruption, Frog is gonna turn back to Archimedes and be like, "You say lots of room for hopping?" And then it's gonna you'll start seeing like the little wheels turning in her head, and she's gonna be like, "I'll be right back." And Frog is gonna run down to Nori and be like, "Can I please, please, please have the frog turn me into a frog spell or potion, whatever it is?"
Nori will gladly take spell or potion out of the bag of holding. Say, oh my gosh, of course. If you decide to take it when we're like all together, please let me know because I would love to experience this with you. Just watch.
This is like when a child is gonna drink, they're like, as long as you do it at home.
Mhm.
um yeah, Frog is gonna take it and be like, okay, we're gonna go play leapfrog right now, so if you want to come, you need to come now. And then she's gonna like run back up the stairs and be like, Archimedes, look what I got the frog potion. And then she's just gonna like pop the top off and down it.
Okay. And Nori, do you follow or do you stay with the brothers?
Nori will turn to the brothers and say, I'm so sorry, but I have to go experience this, and quickly follow Frog.
Okay. So then, as our episode is coming to a close, we have Cass in one room studying for an interview. We have Nori watching Frog, who I'm assuming willingly failed the saving throw, playing Leapfrog with Archimedes. And down in the living room, the last thing we see in this episode is Seth in Alto's mind going, I think I can talk to someone. I think Frog can hear me and talk to me, and I think it's not just us anymore. That either she did something or I did something that has allowed for this change. And Alto is about, that's honestly, that's really great. I'm happy for you. I don't know what this means, and it means nothing that will change between us, but that's honestly really, really cool. And you see them kind of like, Alto tears up as he realizes what this means for Seth to have somebody else he can talk to. And on that note, we will end this episode. Thank you all for playing. Thank you, audience, for listening. We are Help Action Needed across the internet on Threads and Instagram, and you can email us at helpactionneeded@gmail.com. We love hearing from you all. It's super fun. Yeah, this was a really nice episode, I think. I hope you agree if you're at the end listening to the outro. But yeah, thank you, audience. Thank you, players. And once again, goodbye.